What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Ace Metaphor, and I'm here with Mr. Let Go. Um, Me and Mr. Let Go, we had a spirited conversation yesterday, and I wanted to continue it. Because when you sleep on something, you wake up the next day, you like, man, I feel like we got to get deeper inside this conversation. So before we get there, Mr. Let Go, do me a favor. I need you to let me know, let my audience know who you are, what you do, et cetera, et cetera. Probably 20 seconds or less.
All right, I am Mr. Let Go. I teach women how to let go of childhood trauma. I'm not a therapist, but I help women let go of childhood trauma and issues that usually come from a woman's past that she may not be aware of. A lot of the emotional triggers that come up in the middle of a relationship, once relationships actually start getting good, either his triggers start coming out or your triggers start coming out, and then all of a sudden things change. Well, most likely that comes from some type of childhood trauma. And if you grew up as, just like the rest of us, it's some type of childhood trauma that we deal with. So I have and offer strategies that help women let that go.
All right. So listen, yesterday we had a conversation about why don't we hold men more accountable?
Right.
And I know we talked about a lot of different things, but what I wanted to do was actually focus on the actual question. Mr. Let Go, do you think there are things we need to hold men more accountable for? As a generalization, I know there's exceptions to the rules as it relates to women and relationships with women that we don't.
Yes, I totally agree. I totally think we do. Yes.
What are some of those things you think?
Well, how women are treated, just if you just look at how rap music, I remember I used to listen to 8 Ball and MJG, right? And some of the stuff that they used to, in some type of way, in a roundabout way, train us to do, Lil Wayne, and there's nothing wrong with rap, but
Yeah.
some of these things that we were taught as young people, we actually see as being true sometimes. Sometimes you'll get with a woman or get with a young girl when you're a young man and she does something and you like, you know what? Lil Wayne was right. MOP, you already know what MOP stands for. You know what I'm saying? And you start feeling like the rap music has confirmed how you already felt because you're not getting what you want as a young man. So, you start saying and doing the things that rap music could, to a certain kind of way, trained us to do and be. And then, rap music doesn't promote, fathering kids and getting married and things like that. So, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing and you doing what you're doing. So, yeah, it's a lot we have to fix.
Yeah. Now, before we go further in the discussion, I want everybody to understand we talked from the other perspective yesterday. So if you want to hear our perspective as it relates to women and women also taking accountability for, what I'm saying, who you allow in your life, making sure that you are more discerning, making sure that you are setting healthy boundaries so that no matter if we can reach all the men in the world and try our best to change them, we know we can't. So as relationship coaches that have, a large female audience, we did our job yesterday to say, okay, there are things that you can do no matter how good or bad this man is to protect yourself regardless. Okay.
Right.
But the conversation I wanted to gear towards, because I read some of the comments and I had some followers that watched it yesterday. They was like, well, y'all actually didn't talk about some things that we should hold men accountable for. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I never really have, I don't have a video really that I can be like, man, what are some things that we actually need to call men out on? You know what I'm saying? And the reason is, I think we on the same vein. Like, I don't like to come across as bashy. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I don't think that having a reasonable conversation about things that we need to do better is bashy. And I feel like if some men are watching this, I feel like they'd have a good perspective. So I got some comments loaded up, and I'm gonna read them and do sort of like a statement reaction type thing. All
All
right.
right, cool.
So now,
Do you see
Aaron,
the one I'm looking
just
at?
to let go, do not be afraid to challenge. This don't have to
Oh,
be a
I'm
friendly show,
never going to be
okay?
afraid to challenge.
All right. So men don't want to lead. What's the first thing you think about? You think that's true or false?
It's true. Because to a certain degree, a lot of women have and men have been raised by single moms, and we don't know what a man leading looks like, ladies and men. So since none of us had daddies, you had one, but a lot of men and women didn't have daddies. The only thing that
Yeah.
we seen was women leading. So there's a lot of men walking around expecting a woman to lead, which is some bull crap, but it is what it is. So I
You know
agree.
what? That point you just made,
Yeah.
because
I
let me
know
say
deep,
this.
bro.
As I grew up, now me and my father have a relationship now, but
Mhm.
when I your monitor is feeding back too as well. I hear an echo.
Oh, let me see. I
If
don't
you
have.
could just turn it down just a tad bit.
Okay,
But
hold
when I was growing up, man, my father wasn't in my life, man. My father was in prison, and
Oh.
um, I'm I was raised. I had another dad when I was growing up as well. He stepped up, so he was dating my mom when she was pregnant, and so I'm named after him. And for the majority of my, toddler, 7, 8, 9 years old, I thought he was my dad.
Mhm.
I would see him sparingly. My mom moved to Cincinnati and he stayed in Dayton. So when we would come to Dayton, I would stay with him. And you couldn't tell me he was my biological dad. Like, I was shocked when I actually learned.
Yeah.
But I think about both my fathers, right? I think about both my fathers. Both my fathers spent, 8+ years in prison. My biological dad spent maybe like 11 or 12. And I'm not telling their business because my biological dad wrote a book and it's in his book. So it ain't like I'm calling my dad out. But the thing was, growing up, I didn't have a strong father figure role model.
Right.
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 Now, my mother did the best she could, but inherently the men that I had in my life, even at an arm's length, like here and there, were not positive role models for me. My stepdad, if you want to call him, was a drug dealer. I used to
Mhm.
be in the back of cars when he was selling drugs.
Right.
My biological dad had his issues with women. I seen my mom, get physically abused on numerous occasions. Like, my earliest memory is waking up in the middle of a night and my mom being knocked out on the floor from
Oh,
her
you
boyfriend.
too? You
Yeah,
too?
that's the earliest. So for me, it's a twofold thing. It's a
Mhm.
twofold thing because now turning 18, 19, and 20, though my mother did the best. Now, let me tell you something. My mother is a superhero. Like, my mother, she wasn't like she the opposite of toxic. Like, my mom was like really heavily in the church. She turned Jehovah's Witness when I was about 10 or 11.
Okay.
Turned her life over to God. Like, the nicest person you'll ever meet.
Mhm.
But I always felt like, and me personally, my experience, I always felt like the absence of my father or a father figure there. And then when I looked at my immediate surroundings, where I grew up at, the men that I saw didn't lead a good example as well. They were all in and out of jail, selling drugs, angry. So it
Right.
was like, even though my mom tried her best, the male influences that I had in my life trumped that. Because as a teenager, I didn't want to grow up like my mom. Now, and I'm gonna bounce it out. I'm saying the story to bounce it back to you.
No, I'm
Now,
loving what you're saying.
being
I'm loving what you're saying.
31,
Mhm.
I want to be like my mom. Like, my mom is so dope. Like, she's such a good person, and I can take qualities. But as a 14, so here's my thing to you, to bounce it back to you. What can we do? Is there something we can do? Now, we know that there's accountability that women should take as far as choosing partners and this, that, and other.
Mhm.
But is there anything that we can do as, hopefully we can call ourselves mentors. If there's guys are watching right now, or children or young men, what can we tell them they can do in those situations where they grow up without a father figure? Is there anything that they can do? Can they reach out to people? What would be your advice to a young boy that was in a similar situation as me?
Well, what I would say to a young boy is that it's going to be okay. Sometimes we as young people, young men, we feel like there's a side of all of this where the world isn't necessarily happy that we're here. To a certain degree, men, we're up against, I would say, white America, right? It's always the white man this, the white man that. Is always, and we feel like we're in this battle to, stay alive, whether it's police officers or whether it's the hood, whether it's, all these different things. And we grow up with a significant amount of trauma laying on our backs, and we don't necessarily know who to trust, so young women have the same issues also. But I think with us, the enemy, which is not really the enemy is like white America. How do we fit in? How do we do this? How do we do that? And me coming up from the hood, I remember it was a lot of different guys who was just like over there with them white folks. It was always with them white folks, right? So it was kind of like, we'll stay over here with in the hood, or with all these like traumatized grown children, but don't go over there with them white folks. You know what I'm saying? So it was almost this underlying feeling that they are the enemy, right? And then when I actually started growing and learning, I started seeing that it's not about those white folks. It's about all of us just being people trying to figure life out.
Yeah.
So I would just tell a young boy that it's okay, regardless of what you're thinking, everything is going to be okay, because that's the biggest thing. Like, who do I trust? Who do I need to do this? And that's why a lot of young boys are so angry, because they feel like they have to be tough. So another thing I would tell young boys is all of this tough stuff is only in your hood, is only in your school. Once you grow up, you ain't got to be tough no more. I can't remember last time I got to fight. Well, you ain't got no fight, right? Like, you don't have all the tough guys stuff is all bullshit. You don't have to be that. You know what I mean? So all of this stuff that you're learning, having to do with being tough, being hard, is meaningless. You don't have to do it, and everything is going to be okay.
The interesting thing is, I think, which leads to a point. Somebody said, yes, trauma and not having coping skills, how to manage all the stress they are exposed to. And I really believe, for both men and women, but this conversation, we're specifically focused on men,
right?
Is I believe that and I'm gonna just say this, especially Black men, we have to start having conversations about mental health.
Yes.
And because we're not, and people think mental health means that you got to go see a shrink. Yes, that might be part of it, depending on what your issues are. But mental health can be when we're checking on our friends. Hey, yo, how's your mind, man? How your emotions doing? You doing all right? How did you feel about that? You know what I'm saying? Being there. And I feel like as men, sometimes we become so internal. We bottle up a lot of our experiences, because, again, remember, and look, I will get to your point. I will say this. My mom did say this to me, but I'm pretty sure. Hold on. First of all, my dad would have said it too if he was there. He just wasn't there. But my mom would always be like, man up. My mom would say that early on in my life. She would say, man up. What are you crying for? And let me say this though. Can I say this though?
Yeah.
You got to look. I would say she did the best she thought she had to do. Because,
but go ahead.
Let me say this though. You know where I lived? Like, I literally lived in the hood. I went outside, and if I didn't hold my own, I was gonna get bullied every day. People was gonna be taking my lunch money. If I came home crying, even though she shouldn't have, and I agree with this, she shouldn't have made me go fight those boys. But she like, you're not gonna be running away from your problems. You're not gonna let people bully you. You're not gonna let people run over you.
Mm-hmm.
And in the absence of me having a father figure there, she probably had to take on a role that maybe she didn't want to have to take on that role
Or
of
wasn't
toughening me
capable
up.
of taking on.
You say what?
Or wasn't capable of taking on. That's very important.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I agree that that is a good point, but I think for me, there were situations where I feel like that growing up harmed me, even though at the time the intentions was to help. I understand now. I can look at it and be like, yo, I can see why she did that. You're a woman raising two boys in a world where you know that they have to be tough. But now when but now when I grow older, now when I wasn't able to express myself because I was never really encouraged to, when I'm not able to be vulnerable because I was never really encouraged to. And then now when you get around other men that have the same attitude and other boys that had the same attitude, it was times growing up, Aaron, people would be like, call me gay because I was sensitive. Like when I would literally, people in middle school used to be like, you're gay. Even now, people watch my videos and be like, Ace must be gay. Like, because we chastise us being in tune with
human.
Yeah. So I think to bounce it back to you, do you think that now has an effect on the way we are able to experience relationships with women?
Here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. And I'm glad we've gotten this deep into this because it's so much. Because I want to say a couple things, but something I left out on what I would say to a young boy is what you're saying now. Like, it's okay to cry. It's like I've had, like, we're Paris. Paris has made me cry. And I've actually told her, like, yo, you made me cry. Like, she was in my coaching group. Like, I cry. I would have, I've cried around my daughters. Like, if we go to a movie and it's like some Bambi type of stuff, me and my daughters are crying. Like, I don't sit here like and just be like trying to be tough. No, all of us crying. You know what I'm saying? So I've cried around my kids. I've cried around my clients in the coaching group when we're having a moment. I'm not just saying I'm just crying, but you know what I'm saying? So one thing I make sure that I'm able to do is be my 100% authentic self on social media and in my personal life. Some people, just like you say, being sensitive, somebody might call you gay. Well, some people call me an asshole and I hate women or all this other stuff because I'm real. I give women the real, you know what I mean? I'll tell a woman in her face like, yo, he don't want you. That's the reason why he's doing that. And they're like, oh my God, how can you say something like that? Well, guess what? Because I'm human. I'm not this robot. I'm not a motivational robot. You know what I mean? So I get backlash also. But the thing about it is, I believe in being myself. And I think that's something I learned from my mom, because my mom did not do the man up stuff. My mom, she had her issues, but she always was available to me. She always told me she loved me. She was always open to hug and kiss me or whatever. And even though I didn't like it, because I'm like, Mom, no, Mom, I'm trying to be tough. You know what I mean? My mom literally gave me an understanding that in the hood, you're unsafe and it's crazy and you got to be this tough person or whatever, and you can't cry. But once you come in this house, this ain't the hood.
Yeah.
She provided a safe space for me. Once I literally would come home just because I'm mad because something done happened or whatever. I mean, some crazy stuff something happens sometimes, and I come in the house and I got a energy, and she's like, don't come in here with that.
Yeah.
This is a safe space. And I'm like, Mom, but how can you say that? I don't want to hear that. Come here, give me a hug. I'm like, nah, Mom. Okay, you go in your room, but don't come in here with all the energy. You're safe. And she always let me know that I was safe. But once I went out that door, it's a different story. And that's what my mom gave me. She gave me the dichotomy of the crazy stuff. Because sadly, Ace, and this is the thing, when I have a problem when I hear when men and women say I did the best I can or could, because it's a lie. Our parents, whether you like it or not, put us in these bad neighborhoods. And real quick, let me say this. Did you see Menace to Society?
Yeah.
It was a time when Kane and O-Dog was sitting down with Kane's grandparents, and the grandparents was like, O-Dog, what's wrong with you? Why you out here doing all this stuff? And O-Dog looked at the grandparent and said, you know what? I don't think God loves us. And he was like, what? Why would you say something like that? He said, look where he put us. We're in the hood. Everybody's dying and people selling drugs and crackheads and stuff. He put us here. And in my mind, I'm like, yo, God didn't put you there. That man that you're talking to put you there. He lives there presently. Because Cain was living with his grandparents because his parents were drug addicts and gangsters. So no, that man that is trying to preach to y'all put y'all there. And that's the thing that we all have to come to the realization of and be okay with. Our parents did not do the best they could. I'm a parent. I did not do the best I could. And the thing about it is, once you hold yourself accountable, because that's what we're talking about, right? As a man, I'm holding myself accountable. I did not do the best I could as a parent to my kids, right? I did some good things, but I did some dumb things also. So when a parent says I did the best I could, I put a roof over your head, to be honest with you, that's a form of deflecting. We have to say to ourselves, like, okay, because we might have a second child or a third child. So we run around saying I did the best I could. You're going to have that same mentality and not learn from your mistakes with your next kid or in your next marriage, and they may have kids. So I had to learn what I did wrong as a parent. So when I get with a woman and she has kids or I have another kid, I can be a better parent. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Now I want to say this. I want to respond to this comment. My son cries all the time. So effing what? I hate that parents think being tough is enough. Sorry, no, it ain't. I want to respond to this. Sometimes, and I can only specifically speak from being a black man. And I know it may be similar across races, but I'm gonna speak from that. I feel like sometimes black boys are treated like black men far too early.
I agree.
Like, if you're crying at 7, you're a kid. Kids at 7 still cry. Yeah. But it's like we're forced to grow up faster. And so we lose those lessons of learning what our emotions mean, learning that it's okay to express them. And it shows up. It shows up in statistics. It shows up of how, and I'm broad stroking it, right? So this is not all black men. This is not most black men. This is just a larger number than most, disproportionate. It shows up in how violent black men can be sometimes.
Suicide
You know what I'm saying? How aggressive black men can be. It shows up in the crime rates, the prison rates, because in the absence of learning how to communicate well, in the absence of learning that is not about pride and ego, but humility, in absence of having that healthy amount of femininity that all men should have. And I hate the words masculine and feminine, but I feel like we all have both inside of them. But in absence of learning how to sit and talk from your emotions and being okay with being hurt. We are tough. And that tough creates negative results in life for certain Black men. And then, moreover, in relationships. And so
in parenting.
Yeah, and also in parenting, because inherently your parents try to parent the way their parents parented.
Yes.
And so on and so forth. And then I don't want to get this deep, but then you get to that slave mentality parenting getting passed down. I got beat for doing things kids do. Like, it's not like I went and did something that was outrageous. Like, doing some ordinary kid stuff. And then now we learn that love, because when my mom used to, and listen, I love my mom. Mom, I love you, but we talking. This is to help other people. I remember my mom would be like, I'm only doing this because I love you. And I would associate the pain delivered
with love.
And so it's like almost like now you grow up and now some men, and I'm not saying, and we specifically talking about men. So I don't want women to think that this is just men problems, but right now I want to focus on men. But now some men grow up thinking that delivering pain or accepting pain can be a form of love. You know what I'm saying? And especially when you think about men that are abusive, not, like I said, not just in their relationships, but just in general. So I would say this, Aaron, to kind of piggyback to the point we were talking about yesterday, the point I really wanted to get to. So here's the statistics from, and this can be wrong, y'all. I just quickly Googled. So if I'm off a little bit, then don't hold me to it. You know what I'm saying? Put it in the comment section,
folks, man.
But look, from 2015 to 2019, the share of families headed by single parents was 75% among African Americans.
How did I know that too, though?
But
how did I know that too, bro?
Everything we're talking about here, and I think this is why we were so passionate about, I think we have two different views on this topic, but we were so passionate because I think we both know that the biggest core issue facing a lot of us is growing up without both parents there.
That's the problem.
That's problem.
Why I'm here. And that's why I'm here in this world, to try to curve that. So
yesterday, for full disclosure, we talked about from the woman's perspective. So and I can let you basically, to paraphrase, and I'll let you elaborate your perspective. Even though it ain't singular, you have other complexities, but yesterday's perspective was on encouraging women to do whatever you can to not have children before you get married, right?
Yes.
And that, because you become the gatekeepers of your body. You know what I'm saying? And a ain't good dude can't get you pregnant if you require him to wear a condom or practice abstinence, etc., etc. So I don't know if you want to. Yeah, he said, I don't know about the abstinence part.
I don't know about that.
No. All right, so if you want to elaborate on that quickly before we talk about the male perspective.
Okay, so I want to give you guys a visual real quick, and I'm not talking about sexual visual, but I want y'all to just think about just the mindset of this, because now a lot of people won't get mad at me, but I'm okay with that because I got to be myself. Okay, when all those white folks stormed the Capitol, right? Ace, who are they so upset with, just in your opinion?
Who, the people that stormed?
No, who were the people on Twitter and just social media? Who are they so mad at?
Trump.
Why?
Well,
that's your opinion. I think they were mad at the people who guarded the Capitol. It was so many people talking about, like, wow, if that was black folks, they would have shot people, they would have guarded the Capitol, they would have beat people up. Why y'all ain't beat them people up? I want to say that. HOOT word, like, because I don't want to mess up the algorithm. But why didn't they boom, boom, boom to the white people? If there was black people, white, that's crazy. They just and it was video of the guards being like, "Oh, go ahead, no problem." They had guards literally just like, "I'm chilling." They had guards literally hanging out with the people storming the Capitol. And from what I seen, they were angry at the people who allowed the people to storm the Capitol. So with that being said, I'm using that as a visual.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes a lot of women may ignore or forget about the fact that they allowed a bunch of, just storming the Capitol was a whole bunch of dumb white folks. So, they were like, you could tell how they were acting, and they was like they were football fans.
Mm-hmm.
It was so unorganized. So, if me saying dumb is offensive, it looked like a whole bunch of dumb people storming the Capitol. Okay. So, you know what I'm saying? So the thing about it is, when it comes to a relationship, it can look like a lot of women are allowing dumb dudes, losers, dudes who don't want to commit, dudes who don't really have a lot of wherewithal, and they're just hanging out, having fun, dudes who may have said, "Yo, I don't want a relationship," right? Because the woman is the gatekeeper, right? So sometimes it can look like in relationships where, just like with a Capitol, a lot of women are allowing dumb dudes to storm her Capitol.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, where's the guard shack for your womb? What are you doing to make sure these guys don't you storm your Capitol and just put their feet up all on your proverbial desk? Make fun of your proverbial life by leaving you and things like that. You know what I'm saying? So overall, my whole thing was, I always believe in being systematic in my teachings and just my sharings, and by giving people specific things that they can do instead of just empathizing. It's okay to be empathizing, but at the end of the day, it's about giving them concepts. So my simple concept, and it's not about what y'all need to do, it's just something that I was sharing with women that I do on a normal basis, and that is simply require marriage before the condom comes off.
And let me say this, Aaron.
Uh-huh.
Aaron, if you go watch my video, I never disagree with that point at all. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I have no problem, because
you said I didn't care about women.
No, I ain't say that. You said, hold on. First of all, for everybody go watch the video. Aaron said that people at Clubhouse was mad at him, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, all right, what did you say? He said what he said. I was like, well, I can see why certain people, because this is why it's hard to have that specific conversation without the context. Because I agree completely with what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
But our topic yesterday was, how do we hold men accountable?
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to also talk about that, because it's like, okay, that is one side of it.
Mm-hmm.
The one side is, yes, women, they're the gatekeepers. So if women require condoms, if women require marriage before unprotected sex, there will be less fatherless households.
Yes.
But here's the big but. But the big but is, even if they didn't, they are still staying and taking care of the responsibility of the quote unquote mishap or mistake. And you don't want to call your kids a mistake, but you didn't plan it. But women are still, they're saying, okay, even though I didn't plan for this to happen, I'm not abandoning my responsibility.
Well, they don't have a choice. It's legal. They don't have a choice. It's kind of a difference. If the child comes out of your body, you can put the child up for adoption. Black folks don't really do that. But you can let your grandmama or your mama, but your grandma, your mama gonna like, you need to come get your child. So other than adoption, women legally can't do what men are doing. And I'm not giving men in a bailout, but overall they kind of have to.
But that's why I say it. This is what I was saying. My point is,
they can't do what we are able to do.
If you are a guy and you know for a fact that you don't want children and you don't want to raise them, and if you have them, your ass is, I mean, you gonna be a deadbeat, then you, my friend, should be abstinent. Then you, my friend, should wear a condom.
Yes, so I agree.
That's my point. My point is, while I understand it goes both ways, it's like this conversation about both ways ain't really both ways. Because even when the unplanned pregnancy happens, one party is staying and still handling responsibility more often than another. And I think this is my point. We got to be realistic. Realistic is people still gonna be having babies out of wedlock. And I wish I hope
I just want to have less babies out of wedlock.
But I say this, my advice, if a man is watching right now, listen, Aaron, this gonna sound real. Oh, you go hate what I'm about to say, but it's gonna sound conceited. But I just want to tell. I have to say this for people to know my credibility. Men, if you're watching right now, I'm a 31-year-old self-made black millionaire. I ain't got no kids, and that's probably the reason I am. All right, I was able to find my purpose. I was able to find who I was. I stayed away from women romantically for the better part of my 20s. So I was able to dive all of me inside of my career, my passion, and I grew. I became a man. I learned what a man needed to know to now be successful in relationships. If you are out there listening to me, brother, please understand something. Do not shortcut your purpose. Do not make your life about pursuing women and creating responsibilities that you're not going to be able to handle. This is the thing. Even the people that man up or woman up and take care of their children, they are making so many sacrifices in order to do so. Especially if you are having children at 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Let me tell you something. When I worked as a nurse, Aaron, all the money I had, I put back in the ACE metaphor. Facts. All the extra money. I didn't have to worry about Pampers, diapers, daycare, all the extra time I had. I didn't have to worry about teaching a kid to read. And I'm telling you guys, you will not understand the payoff of your sacrifice of being patient until later in life when you are reaping the rewards of not having to have that. So for men out there, I know how difficult it is because, Aaron, be honest. I don't know about you. I can specifically talk about me. When I remember conversations with men about sex when I was a teenager, and it was never, don't have it unless she really means something to you, Ace. You know what I'm saying? It was never that. It was always me being an ear in the room of men talking about escapades. You know what I'm saying? I got introduced to porn through my uncles. Nothing crazy, nothing, but you know how it is. I mean, they show you here's some titties, man. I mean, I messed up the algorithm, but they show you that, and then those things start to create things. And all I'm saying to the men out there is this: you got two choices here. Either you can wrap it up and be abstinent, or if you have children, take care of them. The option that you don't do is have them and neglect them. That's the one thing you don't do. I don't care how much you don't like that baby mama. You lay down with her. I don't care how much headache. This is your child. Now, I understand that there are some other factors there, but to redirect, though, let me ask you this question.
Hold on. Before you say that, I just want to say this. Because this is what, year 7 or 8 of just you building your everything? What do you think?
Yeah, so basically, so about 7 or 8. So I started doing poetry shows, and I've been out of my job this is my 2nd year full time doing this.
Yeah, so overall, I've been watching you. I have To be honest with you, I'm not a millionaire yet, but a lot of my friends are millionaires. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And it always seems to be, I don't know what happened in 2010, but it seems to be like a lot of people started something in 2010 and now it's 2021. So what I've actually done was take a page out of a lot of your books, and I started 3-4 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So I have not really been in a committed relationship since
Yeah.
then. It's, I thought about it, me and a woman, and I kind of like pull away from the woman or whatever, because I decided to do the same thing you did a few years ago, later in my year. See, I got married, I got kids, my kids are grown or whatever. So mine is a little bit different, but to be honest with you, it's the same, because I took about 3-4 years away from, just doing all these different things with women, and just, trying to have another baby and all that stuff. You got to remember, I haven't had another child since. My kids are grown. I mean, 20s grown. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So yes, I've made sure not to just run around having fatherless kids also, but I
Yeah.
literally not completely, but stayed away from whole relationships for the last 3-4 years in order to put everything in to Mr. Let Go. So I totally agree with you. And just understand, because if I'm watching you, other men are watching you also.
Mhm.
So when you say that, it helps them see the biggest picture. Stay away from these women, and ladies, stay away from these guys until we got whatever it is that we want out of life, whether if it's success or whether it's healing. We don't have
Yeah.
to be up in a man's face or a woman's face just to feel like we're alive. We have to find who we actually are as individuals also. So yeah, I'm taking a page out of your book. I totally agree with you.
But
But go
that's
ahead with your question. I just want to say that.
no, no, no. But I'm glad you made that point. But that is, I think that's the $1,000,000. Not
Formula.
even. It's the formula. It's a formula for success. Think about it. In the beginning of this conversation, one of the things that the question I had is, I was asking the women, what are things we should hold men more accountable for? And
Mhm.
they said, basically, to be better leaders, to want to be a leader, to know how to
Mhm.
lead. And here's the thing, like we both discussed, sometimes we're not equipped from childhood to be a leader, right?
Right.
And so now we go into our adult life having to learn to lead. And
Mhm.
the thing is, if you are a man watching this and you want to be a great leader, sometimes the best leaders, think about a job. The best supervisor or boss is the person that worked their way up, because
Mhm.
they've been there. They know how it feels to work this position and work this position and do night position. They know, they have the experience to be now able to lead properly and empathize with their leading. A
Mhm.
lot of men, it's important for both men and women. But since we're specifically talking about men, it's super important for men to learn how to become leaders. And
Yeah.
sometimes that comes with wisdom, knowledge, and then being able to apply it. And that's why I think men typically, to me, the successful men I see in relationships are the men that wait until their late 20s, early 30s to seriously try to entertain them. And what I
Right.
mean by wait is, I don't mean by you was jumping in them all your 20s, getting hurt and doing some hurting, because then you're not really learning, okay? But being a leader requires you to take time to grow into a grown human being. The
Right.
thing about women should do it too, but think about it. Some women, and probably the vast majority, I know there's exceptions to the rules. Aaron, I put a lot of disclaimers out. I know you like, man, Ace, I'm blunt. I don't know why you keep doing
I
this. But
don't
look,
care. Y'all just come for me. I don't care. But yeah,
but
I
think
get it.
about it. One some women desire a man to be a leader.
Mhm.
But how can that man lead her if he hasn't led himself to where he says he's going to take her?
It's about
Like you
purpose.
say you're going to take her here,
Mhm.
here, and here, but you ain't been there.
You ain't been there.
You're right.
Facts.
So
Yeah.
think about it. It's different coming from a man in his early 30s that now he has a home. He has a career, his purpose set up. He has traveled the world. He has cultured himself. It's different. If you tell her, hey man, we're gonna travel the world together, and she know you done already did it. So now it's like that trust is there to lead her. Now, when problems arise, because in your life you have dealt with things. Listen, bruh, in my early 20s, Aaron, I done dealt with my lights being cut off. Well, I done dealt with it. By myself.
Yeah.
Those problems those growing pains of a man, as grown as a man, I dealt with them without dragging a woman through them. So those growth pains I experienced and I didn't require her to experience. Now, when she comes in my life, it's certain things she ain't got to deal with because I grew up first. So Aaron, what do you suggest if a man is watching us right now? And let's say he like, okay, I'm not ready for a relationship yet. What are some things that you think I should do, Aaron, or have on my checklist to check off first before I start seriously considering one?
Easy. First, get therapy. Second, read the book How to Win Friends and Influence Others by Dale Carnegie. 3, well, this is not another book. It's not even 3. Another book is Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Oh, I love that book.
And I would tell any man or woman, it will behoove you to study the brain. I spent, I didn't go to school, but I spent 2 years literally studying the brain because I wanted to know what exactly is going on. Why do people do what they do? You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people, they're good with the psychological side of stuff, but they don't know anything about the neurological side of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's what separates me from a lot of people, even the psychologists, you know, is some things that I know that they don't know, but I did not go to school for it. But I wanted to learn about the brain because most people don't even understand why they do what they do. Well, I have a better understanding of why people do what they do because it's bigger than human behavior, is neurology. You know what I'm saying? So I actually, a neurologist actually took me under his wing and mentored me just in how it actually works with relationships, you know what I'm saying? And not just school or being a doctor or whatever. You know, he actually had, well, I'm not gonna say had, he has a wife that they went to another country and she actually got hooked on some type of drug or whatever. And it broke his heart because now she was a drug addict and he didn't even know what the drug actually was. Because you don't want to know another country, you having fun or whatever, somebody hand you some stuff. She got hooked to something that he didn't do or smoke or whatever. And he had relationship issues along with neurological issues because he was trying to find out what happened to her brain. So in some type of way, we actually befriended each other and he helped me utilize neurology in relationships. And to this day, he appreciates me for it. And I appreciate him for it, you know? So with that being said, I wouldn't have done all that if I would have been married because I wouldn't have never met him. There are women that I met that actually like pulled me toward my purpose after my marriage. There are certain men I met, certain situations I was in, I would have never gotten into if I would have been married, you know, because I've been married before, but I lost everything in 2000. Well, not everything, but I lost my job, not everything. And I had to go through all these ups and downs. I almost lost my house. I had another house, I had real estate, lost that, all these things going on. But because of that adversity, I had to deal with that by myself. You know what I mean? And so I had to go through some things. So as a young man, it's important because like you just said, Ace, you got to go through your adversity without dragging a woman along with it. You have to find purpose. A man does not find a woman until he finds his purpose. And if he finds a woman before he finds his purpose, that woman is, like you said, is going to be dragged through the mud until he gets his life together, or she would literally just be in the way. And once he finds his purpose, is a possibility that he'll leave her. So it's important to find out who you are as a man before even entertaining a woman. So
let me say this. Let me say this. And because this conversation is directed toward men, I'm going to I'm going to direct it towards men, but ladies, I'm responding to some of the stuff y'all saying in the comment section.
Okay.
So I've seen a couple comments. I pinned this one because it was important and indicative of some of the other ones I saw. The ratio of men to women is very off. I've seen finding a guy is slim pickings. I've seen all these different things. So here's the thing to the fellas that listen.
You see that one?
Yeah.
Most men don't have feelings. Let's look at that one too.
Yeah. So let me say this. For the men or man that's watching, you know what though? I'm going to make, here's the thing. I'm going to make more content specifically like this because I feel like obviously my audience is going to be,
this is
there's
dope.
A few of them. Yeah. Now here's the thing for the men. You know, I'm gonna make this a quick 20-second story. There's a story about an elephant that because elephants have great memories. If you bound an elephant to a stick that you impale into the ground 5 feet, right? As a young elephant, it's not strong enough to pull that stick out of the ground and free himself. Mm-hmm. And it tries and it tries and it tries so much that eventually it believes mentally that it can't do it.
Can't do it. Yeah.
So even when that elephant is a full-grown elephant, able to move that stick, it doesn't try because mentally it learned it can't.
There's a belief system.
For men out there, I know as a boy, you were taught that you had to do this, you had to be this way, blah, blah, blah. And you heard the noise. You heard your mothers and your aunties. And this is this is not specifically here, but I gotta respond. Mm-hmm. You've heard them say that it ain't no good men out here. Like women, when you are saying that, you're not just saying that to your girls, you are saying that to your son in the room that's listening to you say that. Mm-hmm. And so this is not specific. This is a part of a larger problem, but I want to address it because I've seen some of the questions. Mm-hmm. When this is being said over and over and over, and young boys see this, and men see this that have been conditioned as young boys, psychologically, some people may believe that they can't be a good man to a woman. Right. And I know you think that, my words don't mean nothing. But just like that elephant, yes, as a grown man, does he have the power to move that stick out of the ground? Yes. But you got to think, as a young boy, it's been beat. Look, like you talk about it all the time. And I don't want to get in this topic because I said I was going to stay on topic. But that's where I agree. Sometimes that just like there is toxic masculinity, by definition, there got to be some type of toxic femininity. And we don't have to address it, but it really grinds my gears when I hear women say that about men, say that there isn't good men around, that all men are cheaters. And this is not all women. This is not even probably a large portion, but it's loud enough for me to notice as a man. Mm-hmm. When all I've been around my adult life, Aaron, is good men. You know the men I hang around. Mm-hmm. Jay married, Buddy married, good men to their own wives. Mm-hmm. My boy that I work out with is married. Yeah, like all the men I know is good men. And so like my experiences be different. Mm-hmm. So I would say this to caution the men that are listening. You have to block out the noise that you hear from men and women, but specifically talking about this comment that there is no good men. Mm-hmm. You can't internalize that and let that turn into some self-hate. Right. There are good men that exist and you can be one. Right. All right. And for the boys that are listening, I know you may hear this conversation and this rhetoric on social media, but you don't have to be like those guys that hurt these specific women. Mm-hmm. All right. Because the vast majority of men, here's the thing. And I said this on your podcast yesterday. In heterosexual relationships, for every man that gets married, a woman gets married. Mm-hmm. So there are men that want marriage. There are men that want to be fathers. Mm-hmm. We just can't now brush a broad stroke and make it seem like that men aren't good when there are enough of them. All right. Now, let me say this. Okay, and I know I've been talking for a while, but I got to clean it up. Okay. Ladies, all I'm saying is there are horrible people, both men and women. Right. There are good people, both men and women. You may feel like it's the majority of men that are horrible people because you only date men. But as men that date women, a man that dates women, I understand that there are disqualified women also. There are women that are not good in relationships also. And so if you dated, and I said this on Aaron's show yesterday, a lesbian couple should have perfect relationships then, right? Because no man is involved. But there's domestic violence in lesbian relationships. There's cheating in lesbian relationships. There's controllingness and jealousy also. So my point is, let's quit this narrative that it ain't good men out here, because there are.
There's a reason why, man, and this is the sad truth. There is a justification of a person's existence, which means if I'm in this situation, right, the first thing the human brain is going to do is to justify why they're in that situation. Okay, it's just simply human behavior. She's beautiful. Yeah. She's a giver, and she's so giving. You know how I give, right? And she's in her 30s, hasn't had kids, or somebody left her, or she feels a certain kind of way, and she looks at her life and say, I would have never looked at my life and said that this is where I would be. I'm supposed to be married by now. I'm supposed to have all this going on by now. Why am I here? And what happens is there's a justification of her situation's existence. And the first thing she does is, well, it can't be me because I'm a good woman. It must be that these men are trash, or there's no good men out here. And it makes a woman feel better about her situation because it's not my fault. It's not my doing, because in her mind, she's doing everything she's supposed to do, you know, and she doesn't necessarily, she's not aware of her, like I said, emotional triggers that came from her upbringing, where the second a man said this and she's getting argumentative out of nowhere. And the guy was like, yo, why is she acting like that? You know, because he's reminding her of either her childhood or her exes, or you know, somebody who left her. Her abandonment issues start bubbling over. She doesn't see that because in a lot of cases, Ace, as men, we don't tell a woman why we don't like her or why we'll just leave, cheat, or do some stupid stuff, right? So women will say, hey, you're not doing this right. Yeah, men don't do that. Men just leave, or men cheat, or men do this and that. So when a woman is at that point, she has no, I'm not going to say no choice, but in her life, the way she looks at things, she's just going to justify her situation's existence. Oh, men are trash and ain't no good men out here. So now she can move on with her life without looking at herself as the problem, because to a certain degree, it's not necessarily good for a woman to beat herself up about and blame herself, right? But on the other end, if she doesn't see anything that she's doing wrong, she's going to keep doing the same things. So that's the reason why we hear there's no good men out here, because they have to justify why they don't have a man.
Let me say this too. Let me say this. I'm going to say this. Oh, this is going to be controversial. Now I will say it's certain parts of what you said I completely agree with. Certain other points we could debate, but we running out of time, and we can make it for part 3 on your channel whenever you invite me back on. Okay. Now I will say this. My stance on why I feel like that idea is so prevalent is because women typically use more disqualifiers or larger disqualifiers than men do. Think about it. Good. High quality woman, high quality man. I talked about this all week. A high quality man is looking for a good person that looks good, right? He's looking for what's the best person I can get, best person I can get inside the best looking body I can have, that she can have.
That's right. Follow my program.
Yeah. And women may say that that's shallow, but I disagree, because it's not like most we talking about high quality men. Most of them are not looking for an empty, airheaded, beautiful woman. They're looking for a good woman that is also beautiful. All right. So I'm gonna stop that fallacy. But think about it. And I asked Just Mike this the other day on live. If you think about out of 100 women that you may meet, right? 50 of them might be good enough for you to be like, I can be in a relationship with. You know what I'm saying? And if you really, really picky, 30, right? Mm-hmm. But most people are 7, 8s, and 9s. Most people, like, right. You know what I'm saying? Unless you like really, really, really picky. And even if you're a 7 or whatever, if your personality is really good. But think about it this way. When a woman says a lot of times there's no good men out here, I think a lot of times she's meaning that there's no good men out here that's taller than I am, and that also makes more money than I do,
or that wants
that,
me. Or that wants me, because there's good men out here, they don't want me. They leave that part out. So
think about it like that. Think about it. So that's why I hate that it's no good men, because if you were only looking for a good man, then it won't matter how tall he is, how much money he makes. It won't matter what race he is. Mm-hmm. But you're not just looking for a good man. You're looking for a good man typically that's over 6 feet tall, that makes 6 figures a year. And I did the math on that. Aaron, do you know only 9% of the country makes over 6 figures a year? So that takes you from 100 to 9 real fast. Mm-hmm. Did you know that only 14% of the country is over 6 foot? Mm-hmm. So now that take you from 9 to 2 in 100. Right. And you know half the country is married. So that take you from 1 to 100. And that one married man, one person that fits that description might be ugly. So half the people are ugly, half the people ain't. So that's 1 in 200. Yeah. And then now that man gotta want you back. And so yes, when you put all those disqualifiers in there, it makes it seem like, that's why I don't feel like you hear it from men. Mm-hmm. Men, we don't disqualify as much based off of, like, for example,
because we don't care as much. We're not as scared. Because we have less to lose, ladies. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So so like you said, to your point, as a man, this is why I hate when some women call men shallow. Mm-hmm. Because I really feel like men,
justification. Oh, yeah,
he doesn't
think about it. A woman who looks like this, so therefore he's shallow. It's a justification.
Yeah, listen, every woman that I've been with, and one I currently talk to, looks good. Really good. And she's smart. Yeah. Like, what do you mean? Like, what do you think? Right. Like, look, ladies, she looks really good. Yeah. And she's smart.
Why can't we have
both? Why? I'm right. Like, what do you think? I can get both? Now, here's the thing.
Oh, go ahead.
When I was dating her, my bad, I'm about to pass it back to you. Okay. Or when I was getting to know her, or even just in the dating world, period, it was like I never disqualified people based off of how much money they made. Mm-hmm. It wasn't necessary for me to do so. Right. I never disqualified people based off of their height. Mm-hmm. It wasn't necessary for me to do so. So I don't believe that men are shallow as we make them seem, because
women are more shallow.
I think that is. I actually think ladies, how tall somebody is
shallow.
Is more shallow than how good they look, in my opinion. Like, what difference does it make if the man is 5'7" versus 6 foot? Now, look, my point is, in comparison, I feel like a lot of men will date a woman based off of just how good of a person she is and how good she looks. Mm-hmm. But you can be a good person and be handsome, but not get attention from certain women simply because your stats don't line up. Mm-hmm. And that's why I feel like women feel like it's no good men, because there's so many disqualifiers. And men don't feel that way. I don't hear men say there's no good women. I don't. And then because I also feel like
our failures.
Can we do this? Can we make this, whenever we do this again, let's make that our next conversation, is this topic, because I feel like we can keep going for hours about it. I done got triggered by that, because I'm like, man, there's so many good men out here, man.
Let me say this. On Clubhouse, I always talk about Clubhouse, right? Clubhouse last night, it was a woman who came up because it was like an Ask Black Men, right? Yeah. They came up. She said, I just don't understand why I can't find a good man, right? Yeah. I just don't understand. There's no, just the same, what we're talking about, right? All of us said, you got all kinds of men in your DM that you're ignoring. You got all kinds of dudes trying to get at you, but you ignoring them. am I right or wrong? And she was like, yeah, but am I supposed to settle? And we like, what does that mean? You came up here specifically saying there are no good men out here and I can't find no man, but we just verified by what you just said. You just confirmed that there are plenty of men in your DMs that you're ignoring. So what you just said is a lie and you're lying to yourself, because at the end of the day, is what you just said. They're in your DMs. So it was like, so are there guys who are like too short in your DMs? Yep. Guys who are this in your DMs? She was like, yep. So the thing about it is, what does this am I supposed to settle means? She was like, well, I think I'm supposed to do da. You know what we did after that, right? We went to her Instagram. Because on Clubhouse, you can go straight to a person's Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
We seen how she looked. And she was okay. But the thing about it is she just looked okay. But she wants, according to what she says, a man that is a little bit more than okay. Just like the whole Kevin Samuels thing. We don't want to talk about that. But overall, it's a woman that looks okay, but she wants a man that is up here. And this is part of the reason why so many women feel like there's no good men out here, because they curving so many okay looking, okay living men where there's no men left. And they start feeling like, oh, they're victims of circumstance. No, you're victims of your own curving.
Aaron, I got to respond to this.
Huh?
And I want y'all to look me in my face. If a man only cares about how someone looks, despite traumatic, negative things that may come in his life if he chooses her as a partner because she has nothing else to offer, he is shallow. Mm-hmm. I was saying to you, though, that most men, high value men, want a good woman and the best looking.
Uh-oh. Hey, you there? Oh, crap. I think his camera went out. Oh, my God.
Oh, I'm back. I'm back. Hey,
right.
Hey,
yo, remind me about that. I got something that'll keep that from going.
Yeah, hold on. I got
you don't have a dummy battery.
My camera battery went out, but I switched.
You don't have a dummy battery, do you?
Huh?
You don't have a dummy battery, do you?
I'm about to get one. Okay, cool.
You know.
But let me say this. Hold on.
That was funny.
Hey, you should have seen how fast I ninja'd that. Like I ninja'd that real fast.
Yeah.
But look,
okay.
my point is, that's not to me shallow. People think that it's one thing or another, as if people can't have both.
It's justification.
You know what I'm saying?
If she doesn't look like that woman, she has to justify why he doesn't want her. He's shallow.
And here's the thing. A comment said, somebody said, most men are looking for celebrity super. No, they not.
No.
Let me tell you this. A man, I will tell y'all this, ladies. Look, multiple different type of women can look good to a man and attracted to a man. Somebody can have an average face with a banging body and like got a man hooked. Somebody can have a really great face with no body at all and can have a man hooked. Somebody can be smaller and have a man hooked. That same man, trust me, I'm one. I've been with, I don't want to make myself to be bad, but my point is, there is not a lot of supermodel look people in general walking around. You may find a few of those here and there, but most people don't like just turn heads automatically. Like I look decent, but ain't nobody like gonna die if they don't come talk to me. And my point is saying this.
Most of the supermodel chicks get ran through because we don't want the supermodel type of chicks. Those women are the ones getting flew out and getting paid or taken care of and pushed away. Those women are the most single women out of all of y'all. The supermodel, the IG model. Them IG models ain't got no man. Them IG models ain't married. Them IG models ain't even got no kids. And they in their mid-30s. They get ran through.
Write that down because I think we can debate that too. Write these topics. Hey, y'all, listen, I'm letting Aaron say some of this stuff because I want to debate him later because I don't want to make this longer than it has to be. I do think. Hold on, let me say this though.
Okay.
From my personal experience, of a stunning 10 out of 10 woman will intimidate a man. But I don't think a woman that makes a lot of money will intimidate a man. I think it is beauty that will intimidate a man. I think sometimes if you're so beautiful as a woman, you may not get a lot of attention from men because they just feel like you're out of their league. Like, you know how when I do shows, a lot of women would be like, hey, Ace, I think I'm intimidating men because I'm successful. And while I do feel like that there's maybe some merit to that, I don't think that it's that bad. I don't think men be like, oh shoot, you make this much. Now, maybe it's some other factors, but I will say this to your point. I do agree that 10 out of 10 supermodel looking woman may intimidate men from even approaching her because they automatically disqualify themselves. They like, man, it ain't no way she gonna holler at me. But
I don't think that's it. I just think when we see the IG model, she's an IG model, and we're not taking her seriously because you got to understand the baddest women on earth, they're getting flued out. They pulling up on James Harden and all these people. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's a worldwide what is the word?
But you know that, right?
Women that these athletes or these whoever's are sleeping with every time they come into town. So with me, I'm good on that chick because I know you ain't just for me. So
no, Aaron, can I be honest with you?
That's intimidation. That's just like, I don't
know. Can I be honest?
I don't want to be.
I ain't gonna put words in your mouth. I'm gonna put words in my mouth.
Okay.
Hey, I don't know who she's sleeping with and who she ain't. So I'm gonna just say that. But I'll say this. I know she out of my league and I ain't gonna try. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it is. I don't think it's like, oh, well, she with James Harden and this person and that person. It's like, I know that she may be with these people. I can see her in all these different places. I can see her in Turks and Caicos and kicking it with Ben Simmons. I know I ain't got a shot. Ben Simmons is Ben Simmons. I'm Little Ace Metaphor. I don't even try. That's my point. So I think when you saying like guys, you know, guys don't take her seriously, they don't have no choice. She ain't hollering at them. She is not. Listen, ladies, I don't care what y'all say. A high quality value woman in the terms of a man's perspective, not your perspective, a man's perspective, a high quality value woman, a 10 out of 10 supermodel that got her life together, brains together, everything together. Men know that they can't get her. It's certain men that know there is no way in heck. Would I look like DM and Kylie Jenner? Like what? Listen, there is no way in life Kylie Jenner is paying attention to me. And I would say this. So is it that I think the reason I'm hollering at her is because I think the reason why we are intimidated in that aspect is because we know we ain't got a shot.
I don't think we're intimidated. I want you to think about the most beautiful black women we grew up seeing. 90% of them, probably 95% of them are single. Taraji, Regina King, freaking, come on, give me something. Halle Berry, and Halle Berry is single. Who else? J-Lo, I think is single. She was messing. She freaking Lisa Ray. We can keep going on and on and on. You know what I'm saying? And they single. Well, it's not really that we're intimidated by them. They feel too good for us to a certain degree, where they want to hold out for better men, and next thing you know, they start aging, and now they are finding themselves with nobody. So it's not us being intimidated. We're in their DMs, but they're just leaving us on red. So it's not we're intimidated. They're thinking they can do better, but they keep getting older and older and older, and then it's a thing where now you are at a certain status or a certain amount of success. And you because I think the successful women, we're not intimidated by them. They just have a certain type of feeling about themselves where they feel like they should get this type of man. That's what I'm saying. The Holly
But
Berries of the
them
world,
women you mentioned though got men.
single because of themselves in a lot of cases.
No, but some of the men, just for clarity, a lot of those women you mentioned got men. All right, and they ain't got just regular men. J-Lo is it with A-Rod unless they broke up.
Hold on, say again.
J-Lo is dating A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez, unless they broke up.
And I know J-Lo has been married, but I'm just saying, look at their lives. They're not. There's no happy marriages. There are no Jay-Z, Beyonce's. Jay-Z went and got an average looking woman in Beyonce. Beyonce is not an average person like a star, but Beyonce is just some average girl. Beyonce is not no Halle Berry.
Hey, listen, Aaron. Let me say this. We're gonna have to continue this because you know what? Beyonce is Beyonce. First of all, what you're not gonna do?
Beyonce, if she was some girl walking down the street, she'd just be
Aaron. I ain't letting you do this. First of all, what I'm not gonna let you do is insult Beyonce in the Beehive. Beyonce is Beyonce. First of all, Beyonce is one of the most desired women on earth. And the only reason more guys ain't shooting her, they shot at Beyonce, is because nobody can compete with Jay-Z. What you gonna do to Beyonce? What you gonna do? Hey, Beyonce. Hey, I know you with, billionaire, world-renowned.
Beyonce was single.
What?
I pull up on her right now.
And Beyonce gonna laugh at you. Listen, my point is, look, this is my point.
Ashanti, hold on. Ashanti, if you out there, I'm not intimidated. I pull up on you right now, Ashanti. Another single, beautiful woman. Where Ashanti at?
I love your confidence. All right, let me say this to end it. I love your confidence, Aaron. This is what I'm gonna say. This is my point. My point is men and women do use disqualifiers. Mm-hmm. My suggestion, though, for women, because I know for a fact that men don't disqualify themselves or disqualify their dating pool as much as women do. Right. And I think that is an inarguable fact. If you arguing that, you just being a hater right now. Because, I mean, there's no way. And yeah, we're making generalizations. There's always exceptions to the rules. But for the most part, men, even high value ones, don't disqualify their pool as much as women. Mm-hmm. So for the high value man, the people that realistically have a shot at him is more than for that high value woman. Because again, she is disqualifying more. So just like a high value woman may feel like, okay, I need to be with a high value man. How a man defines a woman as high value is different. It just if she looks good enough and if she's a good person, right? You know what I'm saying? Now she's high value to him. But with women, it's those things, huh?
We don't went completely off topic, right?
It's at the end. Listen, if people listen to this point,
one thing before we leave, if I could. But go ahead.
Right. I'm about to wrap this up, but here's my point. I want to say this to people that get offended when somebody talk about high value. You got a couple choices here. Be honest about it. The only people that get mad is if they don't personally define themselves as high value.
Facts.
And that's the part that nobody want to talk about. And ladies, if you get mad,
their existence.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I believe that most of us have what it takes to improve ourselves enough to be at least considered by some to be high value. Mm-hmm. And so if you are one of those people that's like, man, why y'all keep talking about looks? You can improve as best as you can in certain areas and then overcompensate in other areas. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I mean, shit, you gonna forget I ain't 6 feet real fast. Like you got this 6 foot rule. You mean me? You be like, well, he ain't 6 feet, but you're gonna forget that real fast. Exactly. You're like, I normally don't date guys that's under 6 feet. He's 5'9", but he dope though. Like you're gonna forget it real quick. And so I do feel like don't get discouraged. You know what I'm saying? And use it as like, and I'm not personally attacking you. This is a conversation that we are just having, shooting the breeze. Aaron, I'm gonna let you have a final thought, but I want to end my final thought with this is for men, it's a lot of work we have to do. Mm-hmm. And, I do feel like we have to have safe spaces to have these conversations. So I'm gonna get a clubhouse, man, and try to make like a men's only group.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because there's certain conversations that we can't have amongst ourselves without offending. Certain conversations are just
But my
conversations.
thing
Us
is,
as
I'm okay with offending because somebody's like, sometimes people want to be offended, and I'm
Mhm.
okay with offending because I got to be myself. That's just me
Yeah.
though. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying is, I would love to have a conversation. Like just reading these comments, they cool. You know what I'm saying? But like, imagine if we were talking to a group of 100 men that could personally relate to the issues we were discussing. So I
Hmm.
do feel like we have to have that platform into
Hmm.
where we can have real talk conversations. Because, like I said, certain conversations is not toxically, but certain conversations is God talk. Just
Hmm.
like ladies, you may have conversations around your girls that you wouldn't have in front of guys. It doesn't mean that it's toxic. It's just you guys having certain conversations and you see
Right.
things differently. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? And then one thing I want my audience to realize, because I want to bring more guys on my channel so that you guys can be a fly on the wall. It's not to argue against you or to say that you're wrong. It's just to give you how the different opinion between men.
Mhm.
How Aaron feels about something is different than how just Mike felt about it. But that way you can get a little bit of perspective. I won't bring nobody on here if I feel like they can't defend how they feel. Aaron can defend how he feels. Now, I may not agree with it,
Mhm.
but he can defend. And one thing is, we don't have to agree. So I just wanted to end with that, Aaron. What's your Mr. Let Go? Why I keep calling you by your first name, man? My bad.
Oh, it's all good. So I just wanted to let this woman just because I think I didn't even read the whole thing, so I don't even know where it's gonna go. But I kept it right here because I wanted to just simply read this. And we don't have to go into this because we're about to go, but I just simply wanted to read this young lady's message. This is Rachel Sunshine. She says, most men don't have feelings. Y'all can just cut off and say F us. And meanwhile, we are crying, trying to get loved and understood. I'm depressed because I'm tired of humaning and dealing with overly sexualized men. Men are BS. Sorry, you are the reason women turn GAY. I feel bad for men that are good. Sorry, you are a man. LOL. So that is another show, but I just wanted her to be heard because it was so much disdain in that message where I just wanted Rachel to know that we hear you, we understand you, and I understand, how, we as men can just be just annoying, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, the number one thing you have to understand is we are not women. And the more you watch videos like this and lives like this, the more you'll understand that men are not women. And the more you
Yeah.
get to the point where you can see things from a male's perspective, you may slowly be able to change your own narrative because the first sentence is most men don't have feelings. That's what we're talking about, how men do have feelings, but we're taught by our mothers
Mhm.
not to have feelings. And that usually comes from our own mothers. So I just wanted you to know, Rachel, that we hear you, but we totally disagree, and that's okay. And we may do another video pertaining to things like this, but I hope this video was able to help you understand that men do have feelings, but a lot of women have taught us not to show them.
All right, Aaron, we're gonna debate that too. I hope you keeping a log. Okay, keep a
Yeah,
log.
yeah.
We debating all. Listen, y'all, I'm letting some of that stuff fly because we done been talking for an hour and 20 minutes. But Aaron, I appreciate the banter. All right.
All right. So look,
Man, I'll catch you later. That's his IG handle right there.
hold on real quick. Y'all follow me on my own YouTube channel at Mr. Let Go and follow me on Instagram at Mr. _Let Go. And if you're on Clubhouse, look for me as Mr. Let Go on Clubhouse also. And I'm going to get Ace on Clubhouse one day. But yeah. All right, bro.
All right, bro. I appreciate you.
All right.
What up, y'all? So listen, thank y'all for listening. My dog wanted some attention. I've been going an hour, and you know, he like, man, Ace, yo, I want some attention. Yo, you up there doing that podcast? I understand, but I want to give me a kiss on the ear. Can I have a kiss? Can I have an ear kiss? Thank you. Thank you with the ear kiss. I don't let him kiss me in my mouth. That, you know, black people, we don't do that. So I appreciate y'all. Listen, go listen to this audio version. If you want to listen to this later, it's going to be on my podcast stations. You can watch this podcast station or listen to it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and this will be available on YouTube as well. But I'm really pushing the audio experience, so make sure you go listen to it there. Toby getting big. Y'all see, he's an Irish doodle. He like 20 pounds now. He's a mini one, so he ain't gonna get too much bigger, I don't hope. But he growing real fast, so I'm kind of scared. Hold on, Toby. Look, Toby. You just want some attention. He was like, you just. Hey, why do grown men, when they get cute dogs, you just want some attention? You just want some attention. You know, I don't care how grown you are, bro. Grown men, when they get a puppy, they start baby talking. You just want some good little attention. So this is Toby, y'all, and you know, sometimes he come in here and he wants some attention. So I'm about to let him go, and hopefully he leave me alone for a second. I love you guys, man. Great topic today. And I'll talk to you guys later. All right. Make sure you go listen to this audio podcast, the Ace Metaphor audio experience. It's on all the podcast stations. Wherever you can listen to podcasts, it's on it. All right. Somebody said you should have Toby as a co-host next time. His patience ain't that, his patience ain't that high. All right. Peace.